This is the Great Legend, and I'm coming at you live tonight, or actually this morning. And we're talking today, we're looking back 2019 and looking forward to 2020. Of course, we are already on 2020, man. January 2nd, 2020, to be exact. Dude, another decade has passed. And let me tell you, man, for a guy getting started in the YouTube game back in 2009 and past 2020, it's been a great decade on the Great Legend Show, man. I'd have to admit, looking back at the whole decade of the Great Legend Show, starting out as a gaming channel, kind of having some fun with the Great Chef Show, of course, talking about my love for comics and pop culture, and even the Legends truth that everyone needs to hear because your minds just aren't quite that clear. But, man, we have got some great stuff to talk about tonight as we go back in time on the rewind to look at the 2019. And, man, we're going to be looking into the future at 20 freaking 20. And guess what, people? Great Legend, man. 2009, rolling and doing it like I used to do all the time. Still doing it a decade later. That's right. I've had a decade in the YouTube community here. And, you know, it's had its ups and downs. You know what I'm saying? We've had the trolls. We've had the clowns. It's had its ups and freaking downs. But, man, that's what social media is all about. Social media as a digital platform is created to pit one person against the other person because it's all about the jealousy and the negativity and then the positivity and then the love and compassion you have for your fellow man or woman. You know what I'm saying? So you got to take the good with the bad. And for the most part, the Great Legends had some good times. You know, I wouldn't have done this for 10 years if I didn't have a good time doing it and if I didn't have a good time entertaining each and every one of you here on youtube.com/rdowdy95. You know, your home for comics, cooking, gaming, and the truth. Welcome to the Great Legend Show, and welcome to the first video of 2020. Man, insanity, man. Let's check the chat real quick to see what we got going on. What do we got here in the chat today? We have, it's been a while since I've done one of these videos. You know, I've been doing some gaming, but not much on the chat up there. So, I mean, we got Fish Tropic dropping that blue wrench like it's freaking hot. He says, hello, are you ready to rumble? The great one, the only legendary, just lit one up and out in the air. Do you taste what the legend is cooking? Man, I've got some good stuff cooking tonight. Double S, what up? He says, the champ that runs the camp, the Great Legend, part of the Comic Core, a.k.a. the Inner Circle. Ooh, dropping that All Elite Wrestling, Inner Circle. And the leader of the crew is the Comic Core Chad, a.k.a. the Chris Jericho of the Comic Core. That's what Chad is, man. He brought that Comic Core group together, and, man, he's the glue that holds it together. You know, it's like I can go all into the glue that holds matter together and string theory and, you know, what really does hold matter of this universe together. But that's like a whole nother truth video. One of those that are like blow your mind. Area 51, one of the greatest, hottest channels with the Star Wars statues, the comic book statues, some big old bad boys too. Check out Area 51. Area 51, I hope you're doing good. And I hope that Copa stuff didn't chase you away. Uncanny Kyle Walker, my great prince from New Zealand, he is in the house. I chatted with him. Uncanny Kyle Walker is going to have a phenomenal year in 2020. I think he's kind of reinvigorated. The juices are flowing and his face is glowing with the passion for the X-Men, for the UK magazine known as Battle, and for none other than 2000 AD, the home that Judge Dredd made. Man, I tell you, that's great to see Kyle Walker here. We got the immortal Biggie freaking Shaq is here. The immortal Biggie Shaq, one of the best, one of my favorites in the YouTube comic book community because, you know, he brings the truth in every single video you see by that man. You know, he's living it day in, day out. He's clanging. He's banging. He's riding up and down that Santa Monica Boulevard. And he's going town to let other people know what this man has to show, and that is a lot of comics and a lot of King Kirby. You know, me and him both have that love for King Kirby. I don't think I have any Kirbys lying around at the moment. But, dude, Jack Kirby is the king. Who else we got? We got my main man, Barbarian Kung Fu. Dude, I love Barbarian Kung Fu. I try to catch him on the live. Him and Gerald were live today, but, you know, I had the mother-in-law over. Mother-in-law's birthday. Happy birthday, mother-in-law. Love you so much. Had my brother-in-law over. We had some cabbage. We had some black-eyed peas. We had that sweet cornbread. And we had some of that GLAZE, the glazed ham, of course. And it was damn freaking good. Silicone holds great, LOL. Oh, you talking about your fish tanks. You know, amen, amen. I don't have any cracks in the tank just yet. But when I do, you better believe I'll be asking Fish Tropic, one of the most knowledgeable about fish tanks, aquariums, all of that fish life, freshwater, saltwater, it don't matter what kind of water, because his channels only get hotter because he's got it all when it comes to those little pescados. That's fish in Spanish. They sure are. Copa, yeah, don't even worry about that Copa. I'll talk a little bit about that Copa here in a little bit. We're going live at 2:30 tonight on Need More Comics channel. Well, I'll be done by then, Barbarian Kung Fu. We're going to wrap this up. I'm just going to kind of talk about my year-end review with my main man, Barbarian Kung Fu. You know, just a cheap rhyme. Fu and review both rhyme at the same time. I couldn't escape it. But, man, it is great to have y'all here tonight. I'm also going to give you some tips and everything like that to grow your channels the right way. Or you can grow them the cheap-ass way. You know, Vince Russo always went for the funny ha-ha. I don't know how many on a pole matches he did. But we can take things that happen in the professional wrestling world, and we can relate those into our digital reality world, our social media world, to make channels grow and, you know, to turn... You know, make sure you're going fast and not slow. So we may talk a little bit about that tonight as well. But we're not going to keep it too long. I'm going to go ahead and start singing my song. Thank you so much for the 10 people watching right now. We've got some, if you like the video, give me a like. If you don't like the video, give me a thumbs down, because it kind of lets me know what you're looking for on the channel. This channel's not a comic book channel. This channel is not a video game channel. This channel is not a cooking channel. This channel is truth. It's always truth. But, man, it's really all of those things and more, because it's not about what gimmick I'm showing, you know, whether it be a movie, DVD, an action figure, a review, you know, or a rhyme. I'm telling you, what you're getting with this channel is you're getting this personality. You're getting this human being known as the Great Legend. That's why you're here. That's why the name of the thing's called Great Legend Show. It ain't called QVC, is it, Biggie? We ain't got no damn QVC. I retired from that gig. Made it hot, made it fast, did a lot of whipping that ass. But we ain't going there right now. I'm just kind of telling you like it is, man, what I love to do, and it's entertain each and every one of you. That's the best way. Legend wrestling is my favorite analogy. Yeah, we're going to go there. I don't want to, I don't want to do, I want to, like, I don't know. Yeah, you know, let's talk 2019. Hell, we could talk the whole decade, but we got to get Barbarian Kung Fu. He's on the way, coming up live with who we got live. Oh, Need More Comics. Yeah, I love Need More Comics. Yeah, I was hanging out today with the fam, you know, not really checking social media. I've got it down now to where my screen time on the old iPhone is usually about an hour a day, which is great because, you know, that's the thing. Each and every year, one of the main goals that I want to steer clear of is trying not to be on the social media that much. You know, whether it be you're supposed to be working, supposed to be doing important things in your family. You don't want to be on social media all the time. You want to give it a rest and focus on things that are out there in the real reality. You want to go out there and inhale some of that fresh air. That's why when I watch Biggie Shaq, when he's driving and clanging and banging, I get kind of that new experience, new look, man. Because he's out in the real life world. He's not tied down into the virtual one. So very kick-ass there. One of my main guys, Bob World, got him a package over here. So, Bob, tomorrow I will be needing that address because your package is all ready to go. I got you something real nice. Well, actually, it's from the Comic Core. Bob, time out. It's from the Comic Core. But, you know, it's something that I kind of put together. So I hope you like it. It's really cool. love me some Bob World. Like I said, Bob World does a lot of behind-the-scenes work for the Comic Corps. So 2019, it was really an awesome year. I went through a flux to where 2009, 2010, 2011, 2012, 2013, and 2014 were awesome. I won the best. I've told y'all this 1,000 times before. Won the best actually the best live show on the Comic Uno Geeky Awards. We used to do these like little end of the year reward shows, and I won. It's award show, but I got best show, and that's out of all the group shows too. But it was kind of easy when you're on the. I was on the very first live show. I was on YouTube before Google Hangouts, before there was live videos. I was on YouTube, clanging and banging like Biggie back in the day. I was able to snag the 4th most commented video in gaming in the whole world. In the whole world. We can look back if you want the stats. Or some people don't believe the shit I say, but that's all right. It happened. It truly did. But like I said, back then I was so hot, I didn't realize the true things that I got, which was beautiful wife and 2 beautiful boys, And we're going to talk a little bit about some of the cool things that happened in 2019, which is really cool. But yeah, so I started doing comic books. Man, so you go from a gaming channel that's pulling in some pretty big numbers, hear me out, subscribers, views, money coming in each month, just all kind of big time stuff happening before I even started the comic book gig, I don't mean to go too far back into that decade, but to be a decade on YouTube, consistently banging out videos each and every year, it takes a strong-willed person, and I'm a strong-willed person because I believe what the message I can deliver to each and every one of you will improve your lives in your own right, and kind of help you along the way when you're feeling down or when you're having a bad day. But the cool thing about YouTube is after all that, and I got in the comic book community, and like I said, some famous folks like Hippies Collectibles, Howler Mouse, Captain Cummings, big names, back then, because it wasn't like it is in 2019 or 2020. Very small knit community. We didn't even really have a lot of slabs back then. Slabs weren't really a big thing or anything like that. We still read comics back then, oddly enough. We don't have a lot of that as much anymore. But just a lot of great growth. And then, of course, when we went to the Google Hangouts, we used to do all our stuff on Skype. We would, how we do live shows today via StreamYard, and a while back we were doing Google Hangouts back in the day. We would record everything on a Skype group call, and then a guy would go ahead and record that Skype group call, add a picture slideshow, and then we'd upload that to YouTube. And it was kind of like the very first kind of a podcast, if you will, for YouTube, way back in 2012, I believe that was. Yeah, that was a long time ago, around 2013. No, still 2012. I think the Hangouts were out in 2012. And then I took the idea of saying, you know what, if we do this as like a group live thing, let me go live by myself as a solo just show. And, that's what you get. You get the Great Legend Show. So had some great years. First one to do it, which I always kind of rub in to other people's faces because, nothing's new to me anymore. I've seen it all. I've done it all. But this video isn't really about me as much as each and every one of you, some of the best people I've ever met in the comic book community, whether it be digital or physical. I'll tell you that story. So in 2019, big shout out Air Spider, man. Great to see you, brother. Air Spider is here. One of the best. But, 2019, some of my most famous things in, we can go back to 2018. I created those in 2018, so 2019. We can go back. 2018, I do believe I did one of those top 10 lists of books I'd like to get. I was able to get all those books. A lot of them were some Golden Age Captain Marvels. There was a Golden Age very early, the very first 4-color from 4-color Volume 1 Popeye Adele, which was really cool. I was able to snag that. I was able to get the issue 2 of Three Stooges, 1949 from Jubilee Publishing, which very low on the census. I got some beater copies, but I do plan on getting them graded, cleaned, and all that fun stuff. Yeah, see, Bortle, Biggie Shack, he was in '07 and '08. All you had to do, Biggie Shack, was watch The Legend back in '09, and I could have taught you some pretty good Gears of War, Grand Theft Auto, Red Dead Redemption gaming. But, yeah, keeping it low-key. Dude, yeah, the Mega Power Hour, that's 2019. Biggie, we got to get to that, dude. That was one of the most epic moments that I've ever been a part of. Very fun. And I'm also going to give you, like I said, some tips about doing live shows and, the curse of fame and fortune in social media. It's very addicting, and you really have to have mind over matter, and you have to have control over your own mind to not get sucked into the digital reality, because it will suck you in. That's the purpose of this digital reality, is to, one, take user information, personal information, two, to make you spend money on stuff. So it's a double-edged sword. They steal your personal identity, and they make you spend more money. But so this year I didn't do any kind of gimmick videos about top 10 comic books I want or anything like that. One thing Drew Manchu posted in our Comic Core Facebook page was, what are some of the things that you want to do in 2020 with your comic books? And I told him like this. I even rhymed it for him. It came to me real quick, but I kind of forgot what I said. I was like, I think it was spend less, get rid of excess. So, of course, for the last 2 or 3 years, my comic book pool is around $20 to $30 a month. So I'm spending less and getting rid of excess. Whether that be selling in an auction, or selling on eBay, or giving things away as A-OK. The rhymes just keep coming all day, every day, so I can keep going on and on while I sing the same old song. But I won't go too far, because I'm trying, because Biggie Shack's the superstar here. Superstar far, I had to go for the cheap rhyme. But let me get on with this. So in 2019, I don't know. I don't look at things as like big books, or Biggie does clangers and bangers, or anything like that, or big key issues. Because being in the comic book community for over 10 years, you want, and all the young guns, they're figuring this out right now. Go after those keys as early as you can, because a lot of Silver Age, nowadays Bronze Age. Bronze Age when I started was still perfectly doable, not too bad. You had to spend some money, but, now everything's getting out of hand, because a lot of things that come out in modern day just don't retain that value as, your gold, silver, your bronze. So you live and learn, through the videos you watch, and I hope you don't get too sidetracked into videos you watch, because there will be folks that deceive you on your own path of life. I always talked about in the great Legends Truth, the race of life. There's going to be people that are going to be kind of pulling you off your own path, so you want to make sure you don't get pulled off your path too hard to where you make some bad financial choices by spending too much money on comic books, when you really need to be worrying about paying the bills, getting your things done. But yeah, so $20 to $30 a month on a pool list, really good, really frugal, and it kind of convinces you to take a look at what you're doing with your money. So for my new books, I'm going to give you some of my favorite titles that I have been collecting. The Grant Morrison, he's a truth seeker. If you really look in between the lines of reality when you're reading a Grant Morrison book, you'll know what you may not know. You really got to have a certain kind of keen sense to kind of see some of the things that I can see. But, that's not being an elitist or any of that kind of stuff. I just see some weird ass shit. It's pretty weird, stuff even my own family doesn't really believe me, and that's okay. Sometimes they make me they think I'm crazy, or I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, but they don't have that power to slow down time and look in between the lines of the digital reality that they live in, or the reality that also corrupts them into doing some different things that will pretty much foggy up your brain. But yeah, it's hard to keep on track when I got so much shit to say. Uh, and wait, it's so hard to keep on track when I'm star-stuttered by Biggie Shack, Track Shack. I know, great rhyme. But yeah. So we got 6 watching. Let me get this show going. So yeah, Grant Morrison's Green Lantern with Liam Sharp on the covers and on the interior art was really good. I was collecting the Freedom Fighters Maxi Series 1 through 12. You're going to get a little bit of that. I'll tell you a little bit more. I really love alternate reality storylines. Of course, Earth X is one of those parallel Earths in the multiverse, where the Nazis won the war. I'm not a big Nazi fan, but the history intrigues me. And I still want to go on Amazon Prime and watch Man on the High Castle, see what that's all about. Kind of a similar type deal. But another series, of course, Jeff Johns and Gary Frank's Shazam series. I mean, freaking phenomenal. The 7 Magic Lands, very cool. We got to see the 7th champion that the Shazam family picked, which was excellent. I think that was issue 9. Another great stellar freaking read all the way over there from DC. Let's see, I don't know what issue we're on now. I want to say maybe 14, 15, could be 16, but Fantastic Four is back with Marvel. So Dan Slott's Fantastic Four has been phenomenal. A little let down by Future Foundation. It only lasted 5 issues. It pretty much was canceled before some of the previews even came out, and we can talk a little bit about that, how the powers that be over there at Disney, powers that be, Disney, another rhyme, how they kind of manipulate space and time by what they put in their previews magazine to really stimulate each and every one of your minds, whether it be a hot variant or, keywords in the previews, or, one person jumps on and then it's like the rest of the sheep jump on at the same time. So instead of like looking in between the lines to maybe a Fantastic Four book, that's, maybe they gave 3 or 4 sentences to in the previews world. It's written by Dan Slott. It's really good. But you'll be more interested in House of X, Powers of X, Donny Cates, you name it, Marvel claims it. Because like they said in another live show I was watching tonight, man, Disney pretty much owns everything. But the key is, look at me, Disney Plus. I don't have Disney Plus. I'm already paying for Hulu, Netflix, Amazon Prime. Thankfully, I get HBO with my bundle, with AT&T Fiber and all the other good stuff. But, I kind of, say, hey, everyone in the world, maybe buying Disney Plus because they see a cute picture of Yoda in a meme, and they gotta, it sucks people in that way. And I'll also tell you a little bit more about mind control you may didn't know. But if you look at that show, The Mandalorian, they timed that final episode to pretty much be the Thursday before that Friday, and of course that Friday being the Friday that the new Rise of Skywalker movie came out. So Disney knows damn well what they're doing. They knew that the Baby Yoda was going to give them some meme and some social media power to get your casual fans interested in The Mandalorian. Maybe they're not Star Wars fans, but it got them to pay $6.99 a month for Disney Plus. I didn't pay $6.99 a month. I'll wait to rent that Mandalorian series from my library. Because I've already seen a lot of those Disney movies and stuff. Now, never say never. I may get Disney Plus eventually, but I try not to buy into the hype, because one of the big messages in tonight's show is and also Howler Mouse did a similar video. I haven't watched it all the way yet, but it was all about making your own decisions, not decisions based on other people you see in the comic book community. Because if you start losing that power of making your own decisions, you kind of start losing your own sense of self, because you're not, doing stuff yourself. You're doing stuff that other people are doing, and you're kind of falling into that line of thinking and that's what happens. These big businesses, these Disneys, these DCs, these companies, they want to think for you, because if they're doing the thinking for you, they can manipulate your mind into buying whatever product or whatever gimmick they're trying to sell you this time, so. But other than that, keep a clear mind, keep your stuff fresh, when you look at things. Biggie Shack, perfect example. If you're still with us, Biggie Shack, the immortal one. Get out of your house, man. Turn the computer off a little bit. Go out on the scene, man. Drive up and down Santa Monica sometime, because things you see outside are going to be a lot different than the things you see on the inside. Now, granted, you go outside, you're going to see billboards. They're going to be trying to sell you stuff. Go to Facebook. What do you see on Facebook on the right-hand side? Basically billboards, but this time they're personalized because they track you via cookies. They track your web browsing. They track your habits. And big data is pretty big. And, the data is only getting sadder because they're making us spend that money, and it's only making their wallets fatter. You know what I'm saying? But 2019, besides, some of that stuff, like I said, Shazam, Jeff Johns, Fantastic Four, Freedom Fighters, the Maxi series, which I haven't read yet because I want to read it all in a collection. Most likely I'll be reading it on my DC Universe app. In 2019, I became a member of the Marvel Unlimited app, so I can read all of my Fantastic Fours. I could read all the Fantastic Fours I want without having my little brittle Silver Age fall apart, because Gene Paul Ace Peters said, and Biggie Shack, you know how it is. I'm like you, brother. We have some low-grade books, but that's all right, because as long as you can open up the Mylar bag and turn the page, we can still read what's on the inside, man. So, that's what it's all about personally to me. You're reading some good stories, and you can do that on your iPad or your Chromebook or your computer or whatever Amazon device, Barnes & Noble. I don't know if they still do digital readers or not, but love the digital reading. I also have DC Universe. DC Universe is great because you get DC comics and you also get some kick-ass DC shows as well. And my buddy Carson, by watching a kick-ass show on Comic-Core, I'll be plugging them a lot tonight because they're family, but I started watching Modern Men, and then when you watch something like Modern Men, the love starts, reason why I got into comic book in the 90s was not because they were going to be worth millions of dollars. I think you could still find Superman 75 for under $5, but it was to read some pretty cool stories. A lot of times, if you're a person that doesn't like reading fiction or, like big books like that, read comics, man, because comics is a great way for a teen or a kid to get engaged in literacy. Being a library guy, I'm all for literacy, and getting comic books in the hands of kids that aren't really interested in reading is a big plus, because that will help their reading skills and hopefully get them to have some love for some of those bigger books. And then when they have the love for the big books, that hopefully will improve their test scores. So everything builds off everything else. You know what I mean? So that's just a great thing. Other books that I read that were really cool, I'll go ahead and show you. And some of these didn't come out in 2019, but these are some of the hardbacks I really enjoyed. The Injustice series right here. This is Injustice hardcover. This was hardcover number 1 of the Injustice series. This is Injustice Gods Among Us Volume 1, and I was able to get Volume 2. I was a humongous, and on occasion I'll still play Injustice 2. But dude, great story, and it has a little deal to it. It's an alternate reality. It's a different multiverse, where the multiverse here is the Joker and Harley together, faked Superman, and Joker used some fear toxin from Scarecrow along with some kryptonite to make Superman feel that Lois was a doomsday, right? And this Earth's Lois was pregnant with Superman's son. So what happens? Superman starts to fight this doomsday, which is Lois, because he is tricked by this fear toxin / kryptonite. And what happens? He makes a bad decision, ends up killing his wife, goes crazy, kills Joker. You know, he starts his own regime where he is the leader of that world. And, you know, the Batman of that world has to rely on Batman from, say, Earth 1 and some of those superheroes to come over and save the day. But Injustice was such a popular series, it spawned the Injustice Year 2, Injustice Year 3, Injustice Year 4, and Injustice Year 5. Each one of those had, you know, Volume 1, Volume 2 hardcover. I know they may have some omnibus now as well, but I read all of those. I also read Injustice Ground Zero, which kind of talks about Harley Quinn's part that she had in the original Injustice storyline. And I do have all of the thin hardbacks so far that have been released for Injustice 2. I think there are 5 volumes, give or take. I'm not quite sure, but I have not read those yet because I want to wait till I get them all and just binge watch them all. That's one of my favorite things to do with the comic book medium, is to not binge watch, but binge read, if you will, because it's a lot of fun. One thing where current day comics gets everybody is, you know, they charge $3.99 to $4.99. If there's one of your favorite characters, like The Question, this book, I don't even know how much it is. Let's see. It's probably on the back somewhere. But these Black Label books, they're really cool. They're magazine format and everything, but they're also a lot more expensive. And I love Vic Sage so much, I had to get the old classic Jeff Lemire style, because I'm a big fan of Jeff Lemire's writing as well. Jeff Lemire's Animal Man on New 52 was one of the first things that I really fell in love on reading Jeff Lemire. Also loved his series called Trillium, which I did sell. I do believe I did sell Trillium. God, it was so good. Maybe I didn't sell it. I don't know if I did, but it's in a better place. And plus, someone can read it, and it was a past and future storyline. I like time travel. I like parallel Earths. That stuff really kind of like speaks to me because it's freaking awesome. Let's check the chat real quick. Where would I be without the chat? Because this is the only reason I really do this. Otherwise, I'm just talking to myself and falling on deaf ears. But we got, I miss that. Damn. Okay. Shaq's here. OMG, man. Hey, man. Happy. Thank you so much. He's wishing me, actually, you know, why am I even looking over? I can look on my own screen. Wanted to wish you a great 2020, my friend. Absolutely enjoyed the Legend in 2019. Man, I enjoy every time I get to catch you, OMG. You got some of the best figures. You got your little man, Braveheart. Oh, what is that little nickname you give that guy? God, anyway, he's awesome. But I love your figures. Oh, OMG Chris is Instagram. If y'all aren't subscribed to his Instagram or follow his Instagram, check him out. He always puts some beautiful Spider-Man books on. And if you're a fan of Spider-Man, you're going to be a big-time fan of OMG Chris. So make sure you check him out. There he is, the Cantonese Kid, one of the best. He had a live show a while back. I see all these shows inside of the feed. You know, I'm subscribed to so many people, and I saw Jeff. You can also check out Jeff, Jeff G813, Jeff Comic 813. Did you used to be Jeff G? I can't remember, man. People change their name more than Prince does. You know what I'm saying? Well, Prince gone too soon, but Purple Rain all day, every day. But no, man, Jeff, one of the best. And I had a great time talking to Jeff on Robert Galvin's G-Spot Midnight show that he has every midnight on Saturday nights. And it was really cool to get to know Jeff because on that personal level, I'm giving you, you know, not so much this the great legend, I'm coming at you live, you know, and, you know, all that. Where all that came from was my video game days, you know, so I'm just kind of giving you the real deal tonight. But Jeff, it was so much fun to hang with you and get to meet you and talk to you and all that great stuff when we were hanging out and celebrating Miss G's birthday. Was a lot of fun too. We got Perry Comics in the house. Freedom, that's right, of course it was Freedom. Damn, why didn't I remember that? Because Freedom is what Braveheart, and you know, that's probably one of your favorite movies, one of my favorites too. Freedom. But yeah, Freedom's always good. Take One Only video. Man, OMG, you've had many years in the community yourself. Oh my God, you've been around, old man, and you're not even that old yet. You're in your prime. You know what I'm saying? We got Perry. Perry's talking about the toaster oven, and I got a toaster oven, and toaster ovens rock. And we got Discovery Bay Comics gonna give you the fist bump because I love my brother JB, who I'm so proud of. I'm so proud of everyone in this chat. because I probably really wouldn't even do any more videos, if it wasn't like all these people in the chat, because each and every one of you in the chat kind of motivates me, not really to step my game up. I don't really have a game to step up, you know what I mean? It's just kind of like I just do this because I love to do it, you know what I mean? I'm not in any kind of a competition or anything like that, and if you are, God bless you, and I wish you 1,000 well wishes on your your growth as a YouTube channel, and just having fun on social media, man. It's freaking awesome. So Discovery Bay is here. We got Freedom's here. We got so many great folks. But yeah, some of those great reads was Injustice. And the great thing about these little hardbacks, keep them by your bedside. I have me and my wife share some big shelving in the bedroom, and I've kind of got my own shelf, which I really do need to clean it. But I keep a lot of my trades and hardcovers on there, that the ones that I'm currently reading. So I'll take, hardcovers off the back shelf, or hardcovers over here, which are Karl Barks, Chew, Don Rosa, Dick Tracy, all kind of like great reads over there. And I'll bring them and I'll read them in bed. A lot of fun. But I'm going to go ahead and say this. Of course, I loved reading Shazam, I really don't know. I really can't decide what was my favorite comics to read in 2019, but I'm going to tell you one of them, and I did get this one read before 2019. That's what you call synchronicity. I had no plans on saying that, but, a word, and you look at it, and it comes to truth when you're in your own reality. I mean, it's really fucking awesome. I mean, digital is... And when I say digital, I'm talking about the digital reality, not just what you see on a computer, but hey, who knows, man? Are we living in the Matrix? Does God have a computer, and we are, he's like Sid Meier, and this is like civilization? You know what I'm saying? So when I say digital reality, I just don't mean computers. I mean when you go outside and you get infected in the mind with those 5G towers and all that. I mean, the future is now, and now is the future. I mean, I definitely believe, in my own religious beliefs, that we're really on the cusp of the beast system, so be wary of the beast. And don't take a fucking mark of the beast either. Well, you can, but it's like the Magic 8 Ball outcome not so good, you know what I'm saying? But this right here, Before Watchmen. These are the deluxe hardcover editions. In 2013, I believe, these were released. Let me make sure, because when I got onto the scene of the comic book community in 2009, they released, it was, who did 300? Is it Christopher Nolan? No. 300. Who did just... Zack Snyder. Yeah, Zack Snyder, 300. Okay. Of course, 300 was, I think, a Frank Miller. I don't even know. Sometimes, yeah, this was 2013. Sometimes, I have some knowledge. A lot of people just think I'm a hype man. Just ask Huey from Blaster Stash. When I was a part of Blaster Stash, they thought I was going to come on and become a hype man. And when I did come on there, they were like, God damn, this guy knows his shit. Yeah, because I fucking read comics, man. I love it. I mean, what a fucking great... Just a great way. I mean, you can collect them, you can slab them, you could put them on the wall, you could display them. See, I'll tell you a little secret about displaying your comics. Never display your Action Comics #1 9.0 CGC, or someone that you invite over to your house may steal that book. Nicolas Cage, you know better now, don't you? Idiot. Anyway. Before Watchmen. This has the Minutemen storyline, which were, I don't know, they released these issues in 2013. I don't remember how many issues Minutemen was. Let me see real quick. It's hard for me sometimes. I won't even I don't know, but you buy these maxi series, you buy these mini series, say for instance, Doomsday Clock, issue 1 through 12. Well, I've got behind me on the bottom shelf over there under the Fantastic Four what do you call those? They're not Marvel Masterworks. I think they're the Marvel Masterpiece editions. They're trades. They're floppy trades. But Fantastic Four, like 1 through 100. Might be like 10 volumes over there. Plus the Strange Tales volumes that contain the Human Torch stories, which I believe was issue 101 to about 120, I believe. And then I want to say 121, they kind of started doing maybe Nick Fury and Doctor Strange, Agent Fury of S.H.I.E.L.D. or whatever. Maybe they went 30 issues. But Human Torch, man, he had a great run. But back to this, and I'm going to check the chat again. Before Watchmen, humongous freaking read. So this is a deluxe hardcover, and they have a Night Owl and Rorschach. They've got a Dr. Manhattan and Comedian one. This is the first one I read. This is the Minutemen, which was Darwin Cook written and Darwin Cook artwork. I'm going to show you some of the artwork really quick because it's so cool. If you're fans of New Frontier, his work on New Frontier, similar art style, you know what I mean? There's Comedian giving the double peace signs there. But what was so cool... Oh, I like that one. Well, I don't want to show you that. A little bit too risque. But, hey, this is all older crowd. You know, this isn't intended for children. I like that Silk Spectre, boy. She whipping that ass. I liked Mothman. I loved them all. Let me just show you some covers real quick. Covers will give you a better thing of what I'm trying to talk about. Oh, my God. Amanda Connor's artwork on Silk Spectre was beautiful. Sally Jupiter, of course, a.k.a. No, Lori. It was Lori because Sally was the older Silk Spectre. Let me get you some covers here, people. I like that one. That's a cool cover. Oh, and then at the... Yeah, oh my God. Y'all really need to read this. These are some of the covers here that they used. So we have Hooded Justice there. We have this cover here. Who did this second cover? This was Michael Golden cover. So you got Dollar Bill with the red cape and star, Mothman flying, Hooded Justice, Sally Jupiter, Captain Metropolis, Silhouette, and you have Comedian and the first Night Owl on the bottom cover. Let me give you some Darwin, though. I know others got... Oh, God, look at that. This one over here is... Well, that's Michael Cho. Well, I can show you some Michael Cho. Michael Cho right here. Before watching Michael Cho. And on this side, you've got some Steve Rude. Really, just beautiful, though, dude. I mean, Darwin's work. Damn it, is there not a Darwin Cook cover in here? Ooh, that one there, that one is a Jim Lee. That one right there, that Hooded Justice is Jim Lee. Is that a Darwin? Well, damn. Where's Darwin? I think Darwin. Let's see. Did Darwin at least? Yeah, there's a Darwin. Okay, so Darwin did the normal cover one. Of course, that's Night Owl. But anyway, I'll show you some of the Amanda Connor work here in a minute. But the cool thing about this, you get the Minutemen story, which this is all pre-1985 Watchmen. If you've never read The Watchmen before, and that's another one, have I been enticed to buy Watchmen number 198? Or hell, have I been enticed to buy all 12 issues of the original Watchmen and get them all 9/8? Yes, but, you know, for me personally, it's not about quantity. It's about the quality. You know what I mean? And it's what I can fill my mind with. So I for things I truly love, and I could still get me a Watchmen number 198 one day, but I really love a good hardcover because I can take it, I could read it again, and then all my other stuff is more so categorized in their boxes, their drawer boxes, and in their Mylars. But this is the deluxe hardcover of Before Watchmen, Minutemen and Silk Spectre. So like I said, Darwin Cook did Minutemen and Silk Spectre, and the second part of this is all of the Lori Silk Spectre. So you got how she trained to be her own version of Silk Spectre because her mom wanted her to be just like her. So I like that, though. Look at that artwork. Interiors, too, by the way. Interiors from Amanda Connor. And you know what's great about Before Watchmen? It's more of an adult storyline. So there's cussing, stuff like that. So some good shit in that book. I'm going to go ahead and put that down for now. And I'm going to check the chat real quick. We got OMG. I picked up mini comics from you in your auctions. Oh, yeah. And my favorite was that hardcover. Oh, yeah. Kick-Ass was excellent. I never did get to do Kick-Ass 2, 3, and the Hit Girl. I just never had time. And, brother, I couldn't think of a better person to get that sold to for you. It was Mark Millar and John Romita Jr., which I might be able to read those digital now. So I may actually go back and read them digital. Hey, Barbarian, man, get you some sleep. I know you're going to be going live here in a second. Share your comics. Give me some of that Darwin knowledge. Well, my Darwin knowledge, Joe Bag of Sevens, it's not too much because I first found out about actually I can go back. He did, Darwin Cook was humongous friends with Jimmy Palmiotti and Amanda Connor, and just two great people. If you ever get to meet him, or you never know, we may have him on the Comic Core one of these days, because I might be able to swing it. I'm not real sure, but great folks over there, and Darwin was like a mentor to them, and then Darwin, sadly passed away early, but he did some artwork in Jimmy Palmiotti and Justin Gray's Jonah Hex series, which was the series prior to the New 52 All-Star Western Jonah Hex series. Very cool. Of course, some of you may have read New Frontier. I've seen the artwork from New Frontier, but I still need to watch the New Frontier. I want to watch the New Frontier animated, which is on DC Universe, and I'm sure I could read more Darwin Cook inside of the DC Universe. I also may have Amanda Connor and Jimmy Palmiotti have their own company called Paper Films. I think it's called Paper Films, but it's kind of like their own indie stuff that they do a lot of Kickstarters for. I think Darwin Cook helped do some stuff on this Weapon of God storyline, which I think I've got that somewhere, but I haven't read it yet. Because, like I said, there's just, in the time of when I started collecting, the pull was a lot bigger than what I was able to fit in and read. So once, the light bulb turns off and you stop following the Joneses and you stop worrying about what other people collect and you start worrying about what you collect, then you can focus more time on what you are collecting, whether that be, a kick-ass cover, or maybe like you love a certain artist and you want to get some really cool variants by that artist, and then take it a step further, try to meet that artist, try to get a signature. If you're into slabs, you'll slab that book, and you can hang it up that way. I know my buddy C Woodard 19, he only for most of his SIGs, he doesn't slab them because he still wants to be able to read the floppies. So there's so many different ways to collect, and there's no real right way to collect. But if there is something I can say, try to read every book in your collection if you can. I mean, that's a goal that one day I'm probably going to be able to do, because I'm not going to keep getting new stuff forever and ever. I'm going to be more focused on reviewing books and reading books of the things that I do have. Because when you read and review things you already have, you're not really spending any money. The only thing you're investing time is the time it takes you to talk about the book in front of the audience, on YouTube. So again, there was 4 of these total, and they collected all the Before Watchmen books. Sad thing was Alan Moore, upset at how DC treated him and things like that. He didn't give his, blessings on it, but Dave Gibbons, he gave his blessings on it. Now, this is the next one that's by my bed. I haven't started reading it yet, but it's the Before Watchmen, Ozymandias, and the Crimson Corsair, who, if you've ever read the original Watchmen, you'll know Tales from the Black Freighter, or Tales of the Black Freighter, whatnot. It's a pirate story within the Watchmen story. So during the Watchmen, in the story, you'll see a kid at the newsstand, and he's reading this pirate comic book, right, that has old Crimson Corsair in there. Now, what I love about the comic within a comic symbolism of the Watchmen is you can interpret the pirate story any way you want to interpret it. But if you slow down time, you'll see a lot of things that Ozymandias was doing in the original Watchmen was the same thing that Crimson Corsair was doing. You know, he was doing something that wasn't right, but it ended up saving a lot of lives. In Watchman's case, you know, he was able to divert a World War III between Russia and the United States of America by staging an attack that he was telling everyone that was aliens, but he biologically constructed a big octopus squid monster. So that little ending in Watchmen is a little bit different from the Zack Snyder movie. Was it Snyder? I think it was Snyder, because Snyder was the original Desolate. Yeah, because they want. Yeah. Okay, so Snyder. I always get some of the names confused, but and of course in the movie, Ozymandias, you know, had it planned out to where everyone thought it was like maybe something that Dr. Manhattan did, and of course Dr. Manhattan exiled himself on Mars, I believe it was. But the movie is great. The book is even better, but I would put the book here, and then maybe the movie just right below it. I guess they couldn't make a kick-ass squid monster or whatnot, but this one here is the Jay Lee artwork, and written by Lin Wein, gone too soon. Look at that, some of that Jay Lee artwork there, where you have the comedian and Ozymandias. Looks like they're kind of fighting each other. You know, they never were friends of each other, you know what I mean? And, you know, if you read The Watchmen, you'll know why. But anyway, and then John Higgins and Steve Root, I guess, did this, the Corsair story, the kind of pirate story. And I believe in this book, you also get the Dollar Bill one-shot. And, of course, Dollar Bill was one of the Minutemen who came on board, and banks would hire him to kind of protect the bank. You know, instead of having a police officer or an off-duty, or, you know, like one of those duty, like, security guards, they'd have Dollar Bill protecting the bank. Let's check the chat real quick. Haven't seen much Jay Lee lately. You know, the last time I saw him was in Dallas, I think in... God, when did I last see him? And he had, like, no line at all. It was like... I didn't go to Fan Expo 2019. I think I went 2018, maybe 2017, but I didn't go 2019. But I saw him there, and he didn't have anyone at his table. But the crazy thing is about these artists and these writers, the more folks that come on board and learn about comics and get involved and figure out their favorite artists, their favorite writers, then their tables start getting a little busier. 2013, went to Jimmy Palmiotti's table, and no line whatsoever, and I just got to know him. I talked to him a little bit about Jonah Hex, because I love the Jonah Hex stuff. This was pre-Harley Quinn that him and Amanda Conner were working on. And I didn't get to see Amanda Conner there because she wasn't there, but I've seen her since. But, yeah, I got to chat with him. Great guy. Didn't charge for any signatures, but now I think they charge... I think the first signature is free, and then maybe like $5 another signature or not. Because sad fact of the matter is the humanity as a whole is a lot different than humanity was, say, in the old days. You know, like when you got your comic book signed by your favorite artist or your favorite illustrator, it was for the love of the book. It wasn't all about the almighty dollar bill like we have in before Watchmen. And I'll tell you the truth about that as well. But, you know, you wanted that book in your collection because it was signed and everything like that. What really saddened me, and I love Golden Slabs, don't get me wrong. Golden Slabs, CGC, CBCS. When we went to Baltimore, when you go to the CGC booth, dude, it was a big double square booth, looked kind of like a rectangle, of course. It was just so many people around that booth, and it reminded me of the floor on the New York Stock Exchange. Everyone was there like, oh, I need to get this sign, they were turning this shit in, they were doing this, they were doing that. And you know, the thing about it was, were they doing it for the love of the comic book, or were they doing it so they could flip the comic book? And, you know, there's flippers out there. You know, hell, I've sold stuff on an auction. Really hadn't made much because normally I lost money on a lot of stuff. But I know books went to a damn good home when I did do those YouTube auctions. And the thing about those YouTube auctions, I wanted to start a precedence of when you do an auction, give the books a good home, but don't rip off your fellow compatriots, man, that are doing what you do. You know, they love the hobby because, like Biggie Shaq was saying, not a lot of people go to their LCSs anymore. And a lot of times, why they don't go to the LCSs are because the LCSs rip them off or do something kind of shady. But with us all knowing each other, you'll find some of the best deals on comic books when you look to your friends and when you look to your fellow YouTube comic book community members. There's a guy named Strictly Comics who has an affordable auction where you can find a lot of great deals on his auction. You know, Thoro Kuboro has an auction. Big Lion Cat has an auction. Lords of the Long Boxes has had auctions before. We've had sellers like Who Dat Comics and Movies, Amazing Murfinator, New York Warriors, humongous big-time auction. Tons of awesome sellers. Roman Curtis, Darren Scott Farr, Adam, a.k.a. Comically Flawed, Comic Spectre. I can go on and on and on of people that I recommend that you buy from that won't rip you off, but have you as the fellow collector, they got your best interests at hand. But I can also name some assholes that will fuck you over. I'm not going to do that because I don't want to bash on anybody. But, oh, we got Strictly Comics up in the chat. He's still awake. I like that. You like that dollar bill one-shot, Sleepy Reader said. Dragon Majesty, good show. Thanks so much, brother. Perry Comics is eating some lasagna. You know, I don't know about you, dude. Yeah, lasagna's kind of a hard thing, man. Stouffer's lasagna, you got to be careful, Mr. Perry. Words I've never heard a lady tell me. You know, Perry's just having fun. We got Joe, a bag of sevens here, chatting with Perry. They're having a great time. Hamming it up, dude. They're hamming it up in the chat because they know where it's at. It's all about the chat. You know, just trading. Oh, yeah, dude. Biggie Shaq, most definitely. A good trade. You can't beat a good comic book trade, man, because comic book trades, you get some good stuff. And you get those great reader recommendations. So definitely before Watchmen. A couple of my slabs I got, I was gifted this bad boy from my good friend Comic Spectre. A 9/8 Fantastic Four issue number 6 with the Asad Ribic cover. Dan Slott, of course. Fantastic Four 651 on the Legacy series. And you got that storyline, the Herald of Doctor Doom Part 1, where instead of having a Herald of a Galactus, you got a Herald of Doctor Doom. And God, the name slips me, but she kicked a lot of ass, and with her help, they were able to capture Galactus and use him as a cosmic power source to give power through all out Latveria. So that was very cool. This one was probably one of the big boy books. And when you hear that phrase, big boy books, that phrase originated from the great legend himself. I came up with that term, big boy books, way back before, I guess, Sleepy Reader's probably the only one in the chat that would actually remember that. Back in the day, big boy books. I came up with that phrase, you know. Howler Mouse basically came up with the phrase of Holy Grail comic. I came up with big boy books, granddaddy books, you know, and all that good stuff. This is a House of Secrets 92. I've never had this book before. Humongous fan of Swamp Thing New 52. And I wanted to get this book because I was interested in going back in time, getting that Len Wein and Bernie Wrightson Swamp Thing first volume, and then go through and try to work on that saga of Swamp Thing to where the Alan Moore stuff really took off. Of course, this right here is Wheezy Simonson there, you know, modeled after the beautiful Wheezy Simonson, who me and C-Dub, we got to meet her at Baltimore, which was a lot of fun. And another cool thing is this is actually signed in gold by Bernie Wrightson right there. So that was kind of like, you know, I don't buy a lot of these anymore, these big boys or whatever. But, you know, maybe, just maybe, you know, work on a little Swamp Thing run, maybe make, you know, get him to be one of those characters that I collect, like the Jonah Hex, Plastic Man, Animal Man, which Animal Man, I believe, for my solo Animal Man stuff, I think I'm pretty much done with him. I got all of his stuff pretty much, except maybe some I have to unbox over there that I haven't unboxed. Pre-Crisis Animal Man, where he appeared in. I got this one recently. Let me show you this. This is 552, and I can't remember if this is part 2 or part 1 of the storyline. But inside here we have Superman in Action Comics 552 from February 1984. You got Cave Carson, not Carson Woodard. Oh, breaking kayfabe. Sorry, Carson. Con Gorilla, Suicide Squad, Animal Man, Rip Hunter from, the Time Master, a.k.a. Legends Tomorrow, Immortal Man, Sea Devils, and Dolphin. Dolphin's a cool character because you got to read about Dolphin in Grant Morrison's Animal Man issue 15, I believe. I think, maybe 16. So another cool character that got her first appearance inside of Showcase Presents. Some number I don't know because I'm not like a humongous dolphin fan or anything, but it's a gal that can swim underwater. Really cool. Breathe underwater and all that great gimmick. Of course, I got some new Dark Shadows Gold Key books. I need to get some more of the Dark Shadows books. And I'm also working on, I guess I could show you some of those real quick. I know Mr. Joe wants to see some books. Joe, I hope you're not looking for any bangers or any of those kind of things, because I don't do a lot of that, but sweet Gold Key Dark Shadows. Never read any of these yet, but I try to get the ones where they're like fine, very fine, near mint if I can get them. I like that hand. That reminds me of the hand of, God, what was that guy's name? Hand of Ptolemy. Count Ptolemy's hand. But it doesn't say right there. That guy actually looks like a cool, hypnotized by the flames of the dark pit. Very cool. Oh, and I like that one going through the picture there. Dark Shadows for its time. These are all from a little bit of 1971. Dark Shadows for its time. Really made you fall in love and have sympathy for Jonathan Frid's vampire. If it wasn't for this vampire here, you would probably never see Anne Rice do what she does. You wouldn't see Team Edward on that Twilight, but Dan Curtis was the first one to kind of humanize the vampire, which was amazing, and I've got love for Barnabas right back there. So yeah, in the future of 2020, and I can unbox this one, I've already got some books coming on the way. I don't know when they're going to be here. I order some from Metropolis Comics, and they take a while. But this is one of the comics I got. It came in this little deal here. Hopefully it didn't get bent. Me personally would have put some more cushion around it. It's in poly. Of course, we'll be putting it in Mylar soon, but it's kind of like a very fine copy of Weird Western Tales issue 18. Now, supposedly this issue is the very first Weird Western Tales that has Jonah Hex throughout the whole story. Sometimes you might get a Powell Smith or a Batlash, or you might get a El Diablo, but this one had all Jonah Hex, and the success that Jonah Hex has in Weird Western Tales would go ahead and garner his own volume. So, of course, I got all those already. But after this, I need 4 more Jonah Hex Weird Western issues. And then I can finish up my Weird Western collection by collecting some Scalp Hunters. Let's check that chat. Over 1K is big boy. So you remember, that's right. That's what I taught people bag of sevens. When they're 4 figures, when you got four numerals on it, that's a big boy book. When you've got 5 figures, that's a granddaddy. Yeah, granddaddies. And when you got 6 figures and above, you got your great-granddaddies, because your great-granddaddy was reading Action Comics #1. Too bad he didn't save it, if you will. Bars, do you still got that 1 in 1,000 FF legend? 1 in 1,000. 1 in 1,000. I don't know, Biggie Shack. I don't have a lot of variants of FF. I've got some variants, but in my collecting, I haven't gotten you know, a lot of the FFs from Marvel, well, some Marvel Now FFs from I don't even remember, 2012, 2013 when Marvel Now became big. I don't even know how many variants there were, but I do try to get as many variants of FF as I can. Or do you still got 1 in 1,000? You know what I do have? I got issue number 1. But yeah, as far as chronological reading goes, I do have every Fantastic Four issue. Oh, number 1. Yeah. I've got number 1. Now, the difference is between me and a lot of other collectors, I don't, like, hang up that stuff on the wall. Yeah, you know, I'm not Nick Cage. I ain't going to have some visitor come in here over there playing some damn Ninja Turtles or whatever they're playing on the arcade and swipe some of my granddaddies out of the room, if you will. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, but we do have the old Fantastic Four number 1. Burke Family Comics. Great video. He showed his top 10 books that were the top 10 books in his collection by the very end of 2019. I thought that was really cool. I do want to do a video soon called top 10 books of the decade that I've gotten, because, you know, I've been on YouTube and I've done this comic book stuff for a decade on the YouTube scene, and I may do one of those videos here in 2020. But again, those kind of videos are, you know, it's just me comparing. It's like comparing dick sizes or something. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's cool to show people books and all, but, you know, you also don't want to be like, hey, look at this, hey, I got this, you know, because I could tell you what I have. You know, I've got a Fantastic Four 1. I got a Wiz Comics number 2. I got a Three Stooges number 1 that I'm real proud of, and I love that book and all that good stuff. But I don't know. It all depends. You know what I mean? You know, how I'm feeling or things of that nature. But more importantly than having some kind of big boy book is if you've read the book. What do you think about the inside story, man? And as my old buddy Dr. Von Chilla says, I've got some damn blazers for reads. Freaking awesome. Two of the Funkos that I got, and I think this one came out, I think this one came out earlier, but it was a Funko that I picked up in 2019 that I really like, is one of my favorite cereals. Did y'all mean like 1920s or 1930s cereals? I do have the Captain Marvel, aka the OG Shazam cereal, which was really cool. Which, you know, old school cereals that you watched on Saturday was basically George Lucas's and Spielberg's deal for Indiana Jones. You know, some of those adventure cereals that used to come on double matinees on Saturdays when, you know, like my dad's age would go see some movies and stuff. But this kind of cereal, the kind you eat, Captain Crunch, man, one of my favorite cereals. Of course, my personal favorite, Captain Crunch, is good, but I really love the peanut butter Captain Crunch. Got him in the old pop protector there. Very cool. The other one I'm so glad they came out with, and I wanted them to come out with the, have you ever showed your FF number 1 in a video? Oh, that was a joke. Okay, yeah. All right, I'll just for you, I'll show it in a minute. But I'm lazy. I'm not going to get it out of the closet. This one is Popeye. Look at that. And it's a Funko specialty series. So you had to kind of get it from the Funko shop. But, man, look at that, dude. They could have easily released Olive Oil, you know, J. Wellington Wimpy, Poop Deck Pappy, Sea Hag, Bluto, dude, the Jeep, Alice the Goon, Sweet Pea. God, dude. Why'd they only release this one, man? But very cool. You know how I told you I only spent about $20 on my pull? My pull was going to be $20. The books that are coming out in February. Okay, Grant Morrison is back with Liam Sharp in Green Lantern Season 2. Right now you got the 3-part mini of the Black Stars, which is freaking phenomenal. And God, it's so Grant Morrison. I can't even really explain it, like how the mind of that man has a mind like no other, man. It's so awesome. But, you know, Hal Jordan's a part of the Black Stars. I think it's like a dream scene or it could be one of those duality things where he'll wake up as Hal Jordan, the Green Lantern, but when he falls asleep, he'll wake up as a Black Star, and it's a whole different ball game, whole different parallel Earth, parallel storyline. Because at the end of issue 12 of Grant Morrison, Liam Sharp's Green Lantern, from 2-3 issues back before the Black Stars, you actually got to see how we have DC has the multiverse. You got to see a Lantern Corps that was a Lantern Corps of the multiverse, which, oh my God. So you had different Green Lanterns from each of the multiverses together battling, that evil dude from the dark multiverse. Because, the whole dark multiverse, a.k.a. antimatter, is a really big thing. I don't know if it's just like DC takes things out of reality, because if you study some of the stuff that CERN does overseas, in Switzerland and stuff, how when they... you got Flash, the TV show. You have Star Labs, which is the ring, which is the LHC, like a Large Hadron Collider, where they're smashing atoms, at this amazing speed, trying to replicate the Big Bang Theory. Man always wants to play God, and he wants to see how God made our universe, right? Well, they're doing that stuff in real life over at CERN, and when they're banging these two positive, things together, this positive matter together, it creates antimatter or negative matter. And what they did, they took some of that negative matter and they would put it in a room, and they would put one of their workers in the room, and all that antimatter together, that dark matter, which is matter that you would find on the spiritual plane or the astral plane or the ghost plane, all of that opposite, the dark matter would cause a normal human being that is used to positive matter outside, it would give them suicidal thoughts, kind of demonic entities in your mind and in your head. Really scary ass stuff. But the cool thing about it, and as I say cool in a sense that if you're a guy that reads the Holy Bible, then, it's just stuff that cements the foundation of, God and humanity as we know it, and how God shaped that humanity. So, I mean, if you kind of learn and do your own truth seeking, you'll find out that, the Bible, that's the truth right there. Some may not believe, and that's okay. Everyone has their own beliefs, but very cool. But anyway, like I was saying, all of that shit I just said about CERN and the antimatter and all that, that's actually true. But what is cool is things that happen in comic books also happen in reality to an extent. A little baby hadn't come from Krypton yet, but I mean, it's getting there. They illegalized Captain Crunch. The education is what I want. I was about your show, I was LOL about your showing on this. Seriously, have you showed your FF1 in a video before? Yeah, dude. Strictly, I know about CERN. You got to watch more of those Legends Truths. Yeah, that's right. CERN's doing that. What they're doing is, and you can see some video footage of kind of how one of the portals look like. They've taken pictures of it, where you can definitely see like the skies change color. It's kind of like the end of Flash season 1 when they opened up that damn whatever that hole was. I mean, it's legit stuff. Yeah, Higgs and Boson, aka the God Particle. There's Jesse. About time you showed up, man. Jesse, you need to get your ass off the G.I. Joe kick. I know the views are hot, and dude, when the views are hot, you got to go with what you got. But man, remember about your friends, your YouTube family. I know Cobra and Destro and the dude that got trained by Shang-Chi. Golly gee, it's Wally and the Beef. But I mean, you got to get back with golly gee. It's Edwin, Justin, and Boston Chris. We love you, brother. You don't have to G.I. Joe this MFer. I want to see you as a human being. I want to see you on the Comic Corps. But anyway, no. If you love G.I. Joe like Jesse does, make sure you subscribe to JLS Comics. And remember, when you look out in society and when you're doing your thing outside, our 5 senses we're only getting about 10. We're only seeing, hearing, tasting, feeling, touching 10% of that matter. 90% of the matter you as a human being cannot see, but you got that other stuff like the astral plane. You got all the the opposite, the dark matter. You got all the stuff going on. Yeah, Jesse's on another level now. He really Jesse's gone too soon, dude. He's gone too soon. He left us. But hopefully, cross my fingers, if JLS Comic Conversation doesn't come back, we can kick him off to the curb, and we're going to have strictly Comic Conversation. And then we'll have strictly Justin, Boston Chris, and downtown comically flawed Adam Brown. And, of course, I'm just kidding because, Jesse, I love you, brother. I know the year you've had, and I'm just messing with you. But I want that human to come back. I want that physical presence. And I'm not talking presence as in AOKs. Now, those were some of the great reads. You've heard some of the Legends Truth. I'm also going to give you, Biggie Shack, if you're still here, if you're still awake, I'm going to give you some cheap pops if you want to grow your YouTube channel. I don't know. It's kind of negative. I don't really want to go there, but I'll tell you some stuff to look out for. This movie here, this was a great freaking movie. Stan and Ollie. I was so excited about this movie. I'm a humongous Laurel and Hardy fan. I got some Laurel and Hardy stuff over there. Steve Coogan and John C. Reilly knocked it out of the freaking park. I mean, just beautifully well done movie, a bioepic, if you will, of their last tours that they were doing over there in the UK before our good man Oliver Hardy passed away. Now, UK and passed away, I know it's a cheap rhyme for another time, and I didn't want to drop it like that dime that I did, but, it's just awesome. A beautifully done movie. Got me crying at the end of the movie, but very well done. I know some of us may not know who Laurel and Hardy is, man. It's just... You just don't get them like that anymore. The closest thing that me, Jesse, Edwin, Joe, maybe, if you remember, the closest thing we got to these guys were David Spade and Chris Farley. You know what I mean? Don't you think, Jesse and Edwin? I would say David Spade and Chris Farley was probably the closest thing in modern era that we could have ever gotten to Stan and Ollie. And I know some people like Abbott and Costello, they were cool. Marx Brothers were cool. W.C. Fields was just an asshole bastard. And I say that because when Shemp Howard was in the bank dick as the bartender, Shemp Howard had some of the funniest lines, but W.C. Fields went to the higher-ups, and he cut out Shemp's lines because they were more funny than W.C. Fields' lines was. And to me, that's a selfish prick. And you get some selfish pricks in the YouTube comic book community as well. But, you know what I mean? Shemp Howard, people. God dang, one of the best. Voted the ugliest in Hollywood one year, way back in the 40s or 50s or 30s, whichever year it was. Movie I watched tonight with the mother-in-law. Movie of the year, by far, the Shazam movie. Love this movie. Now, I did not watch this in 3D tonight. I've watched it in 3D before, but I got it on the Blu-ray, and we watched it on Blu-ray tonight. They did this movie right, man. They did it right. I could not have asked for a better movie. This was excellent. It reminded me of the Jeff Johns, Gary Frank Shazam story that they told in the backups of the Justice League New 52 storyline. And by the way, we talked about cereals earlier, not Captain Crunch, but Serial. We talked about cereals, and what I loved, and not a lot of people got this because they don't think like me. What I loved about that cereal was, you had the old school Adventures of Captain Marvel cereal, not Carol Danvers, blah, 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 but, Shazam Captain Marvel. And by them putting that as a backup story, it reminded me of the Golden Age when Captain Marvel Adventures' backstory, it started in issue 22, and I think it ran up to 42, possibly 44. I think it was 22 to 44 because it was, I believe it was a 22-part serial, a.k.a. It was the tail end of some of those Golden Age books. You would read the classic story of Mr. Mind and the Monster Society of Evil, and you got to see those alligator monsters. Mr. Mind, recruiting his Monster Society of Evil for the first time. I mean, so when they decided to do the New 52 version of Shazam as a backup to the Justice League, it immediately threw me back in time to the first time we saw a kick-ass serial. By the way, I do believe it was the very first. I want to say episodic because it reminded me of radio stories, like The Phantom, or some of the stories like not Orson Welles, but he was a great narrator on the radio of the War of the Worlds, or The Shadow, just a lot of old-time radio, Lone Ranger being another one, Zorro, if you will. A lot of these pulp kind of things, but you would put them in the back of that story, and it was like you were listening to, say, a little 22-minute radio episode, like you were living in the 30s or 40s or pre-television days. So freaking awesome. And they do have a trade. I got the hardback, but it's the Jeff Johns, Gary Frank, Shazam, the New 52, and it kind of brings Billy Batson into that New 52 storyline. And then with Gary Frank and Dale Eaglesham, or is it Dale or Doug Eaglesham, whatever, can't remember. But Eaglesham, he's no Gary Frank, and I know Gary Frank was doing Doomsday Clock, but he does a great job talking about the new Shazam storyline, which is Shazam and the Magic Lands, the different Magic Lands, and how the Shazam family opened that door to the Rock of Eternity that they shouldn't have, and they went on the little subway that took them all throughout the Magic Lands. And they just finished, I think, issue 9 of that, but that series is phenomenal. So if they do finish the complete story arc by issue 1 through 12, highly recommend getting that in a hardcover or a trade paperback, or read it on the DC Universe app when it comes out 6 months down the line. Make sure you read it because you're going to have a good time. Even though line and time, don't really rhyme, if you concentrate on that I, the letter I that's in there in line and time, you can make it rhyme just by the words you say. And man, it sounds good every goddamn day. I mean, the rhymes, they're all around us. You just have to find your inner rhyme inside your inner soul. And when you find that, you'll be glad that you now know. But I guess that was it. Let me talk a little bit about TV shows. Crisis on Infinite Earths, phenomenal. I talked to Edwin about this. One of the greatest DC stories ever told. I would probably say it's one of my favorites because it has to do with parallel Earths, multiverse type stuff. Of course, Flash 1, 2, 3, the Flash 2 Worlds. That would be a really cool key issue to get. If y'all don't know, look up Flash 1, 2, 3 or 123, where Jay Garrick and Barry Allen are racing to save the person. And they also did that in one of the episodes of Flash, I think in season 2 or season 3, when they had the old classic Jay Garrick. Of course, we find out that he was really Zoom, and he captured Jay Garrick and hid him away. But that Grant Gustin Flash show on CW, that is one of my favorite shows. Arrow, of course, is just been phenomenal. I think Arrow was one of my hottest shows in 2019. And, a lot of me is it hits me in the feels because I know it's going to be the last Arrow coming up January 10th, I believe. So that was really a hot show. And then another one that I really enjoyed, of course, I wasn't really big into Supergirl. I just thought there was so much just like teenage CW drama. And of course, CW probably is your 18-year-old to 25-year-old demographic. So that's what they cater to. I don't know. It just really wasn't my thing. But I know from that, they're going to take the Superman and Lois of that universe. I guess that was Earth 38. And they're going to give them their own kind of like Superman show on CW. So maybe I'll be more into that. I just wasn't into Supergirl for whatever reason. I don't know. It just felt kind of lame. When it was on NBC, my wife had started watching it. And then she kind of just wasn't in it either. So Arrow, Flash, What's another one? Oh, Legends of Tomorrow, because I love time travel. You know the great thing about Flash, you did get the multiverse. You had Vibe, you had Cisco Ramon in there. Excellent. The other one I really fell in love with was Black Lightning. Black Lightning Season 1, a little low on Season 2, but Season 3 is definitely picked up. I'm in love with Black Lightning. I love that show. Now, let me keep in mind, if you're a more of a Republican, and I don't like doing government stuff because, I'm kind of Democrat. I guess, don't hurt me, don't throw stones at me. But my dad being a school teacher, me being a library guy, we just are always kind of more into that liberal Democratic kind of style. But Republicans, I love my Republicans too because I know a lot of great Republicans. But the thing about CW, they kind of throw a lot of the liberal stuff in there. So if you're really not into like some of the gimmicks, whether it be like, I think it was episode 2 of Black Lightning, where Black Lightning got stopped by some white cops. I'm not saying like, Republicans are a bunch of like, cop beaters or crap like that. But I mean, there is a lot of like little like cheese. I call it the cheese factor. Edwin, you know exactly what I'm talking about because they had a lot of cheese in the Star Wars trilogies. You know what I mean? It's there to get our younger audience involved in shows, and it can get annoying at sometimes, but if you kind of just tone out that dumb shit, I mean, there's some good freaking shows. Batwoman is another phenomenal show. Totally addicted to Ruby Rose's Batwoman. Kick-ass storyline. Freaking love it. And of course, as we age and the younger kids kind of come up into the world and become our next generation, it's just stuff they have to deal with and, crap like that. So it is what it is, you know what I mean? But, so those shows on CW, kick ass. What else? The Crisis on Infinite Earths, kick ass. Mandalorian, I may have already talked about the whole Disney Plus thing. I'll probably get that from my library when it comes out. Let people decide, but social media shouldn't. That's true because, Joe, exactly right. If you look at it, the Twitters, they're always fighting, and a lot of times Hollywood will go by what they see in social media. And a lot of times our country is divided 50-50. So is Hollywood going to do the liberal side? Are they going to kind of do the Republican side? Or are they going to go down the middle? And a lot of times they're kind of going into the liberal side, which, it is what it is. It's just kind of the way it goes. But you're exactly right. The social media, the power of the digital reality we're in, and if you look at that bigger picture, there is an entity behind some of the social media, because if you look at all computers, especially quantum computers, D-Wave, stuff like that, just look up Beast System. That's all I'm going to say. I already did my Legends Truth on the Beast System, so look that up. There is a guy with a tail and a pitchfork that he knows what's happening in the world. But so does his adversary Yahweh. God knows too. But God's kind of like he's not ready to come from those rafters like Sting in the baseball bat. He's not ready yet. He's still waiting for the right time to really whip some of that ass, if you know what I mean. But I do hope and I do believe that I'm going to get to see it in my lifetime. So I'm so excited about that. We talked 2019. We talked TV shows. The HBO show, Watchmen. Binge watched the whole thing. Freaking loved it. Me and my wife, we're watching the Watchmen motion comic on DC Universe app right now. So we need to do episode 3. But we haven't watched it, been busy and all. But after I get her to watch all of those, then we'll start watching. I'm going to watch, and she's going to watch it for the first time. We're going to watch the HBO Watchmen series. I thought that series was freaking phenomenal. New Doctor Who was so good today. Great cliffhanger. And that is good to hear, Kyle Walker. Because remember, I was hearing from William Thorg. He's another truth seeker. He really wasn't into that first series of Doctor Who with the new Doctor. He kind of preferred the companions better than the Doctor, but that also could have been bad writing or things of that nature. You can't just throw it all on our new girl doctor. Oh man, look at the IBM Watson. That's a crazy powerful supercomputer. I bet that's their version. That's probably their quantum computer, the Watson. One other thing, the most proudest thing in 2019 is my son Jackson, my 11-year-old. Oh shit, he's not 13 yet. I don't know if this breaks the COPA laws, but it doesn't really matter. He accepted Jesus Christ as his Lord and personal Savior. That right there, I would fucking throw all my comic books away. I would just chunk all the materialistic bullshit away. But I'm so happy for him. We haven't got the baptism lined up yet. He's still doing his baptism classes. But man, thank God for that. I tell you what, man, I remember when my oldest got baptized, man. It was one of the happiest days of my life, Put that up there with me accepting Jesus, me and my wife getting married. It's kind of funny if you think about it in comic books. I ain't gonna lie, when this movie came out, it was one of the best days of my life. But you know what I mean? The way you, as a human being, interpret other things, whether it be like taking a picture on Facebook and showing like all the gifts you got or whatnot, and I was like, you think that's a fucking gift. You think about our Lord God sending a gift like his son to get nails in his hands and nails in his feet to give us the greatest gift of all, eternal life. Okay, I don't need to go too much into the religion. I know that may turn some people off, but man, I tell you what, man, God dang, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for any of that. So amen. But that's about all I got to say, I guess. As far as the 2019. Now, things to look forward to in 2020. So 2019, it was kick-ass. I got to hang with the Comic Corps. That group that group's gone to like all the way up to 900 plus subscribers. And we always say that subscribers shouldn't really matter. It took me many, many, many years to realize that, numbers and views and things like that in the long run don't really matter. But the cool thing is, if you do make money on monetization, you can use that money to fund the hobby, whether that's your video creation, whether it's a green screen, whether it's to get a new computer, a new microphone, or a holy grail or something like that. I'm all for that. So if you got it going on, do that, because that's what I did during the gaming days, and I was able, it kind of like funded itself, which was very nice. Now, when I got into the comic books, I wasn't funding very much, so I had to start, limiting the pull list. But the Comic Corps been growing like crazy. Our Comic Corps Chad, C. Woodard 19, Cat Ren Figures and Mark BKR, Drew Manchu, myself, we got a great fun show we do every Friday night. Jesse, we're still trying to get you on there. I know you're busy with life, but we have a lot of fun talking about books that we read during the week, and also things that are going on, and we usually try to pick a topic and things like that, and we just have a lot of fun, and it's a way to unwind and shoot the shit after a long week's of work. Thursday show, we were doing Outside the Issues, which was a show hosted by Kat Wren and her co-host Drew Manchu, where we talked about the kick-ass CW shows. They talked about, what was something else they talked about? They were really big fans, of course, of Mandalorian. They talked about a lot of shows that I didn't watch, so I wasn't on that show as much, and I don't know what the hell's the deal. Not very many of them watch Black Lightning or Riverdale. How can you not watch Riverdale? I mean, Riverdale, that's a classic. That's a great show. So, yeah, we talked about stuff like that, or movies that were coming out that we looked forward to, or we would do movie reviews. One of my favorite things was when me and Carson did our episode 123 breakdown of Crisis on Infinite Earths. It was the very first time me and Seawood 19 had ever been on a live show together, and I so wanted to do the whole Bobby the Brain Heenan, because I really am fast when it comes to the things that come out of my mouth and little zingers here and there, but and then he's really good as my foil, my Gorilla Monsoon. But God, we were so excited. I didn't really have any of those cheap shots or cheap jabs or anything like that, but it was such a great video, and it's such a great review of the first 3 episodes of Crisis on Infinite Earths that CW did. They knocked it out of the freaking park. So it was anytime I can be, on a show with someone to, give that person some love, or to kind of boost that person's self-esteem, boost that person's confidence into being the person that God wants them to be, or if they don't believe in God, that person that they want to be, but they may not have, like, the courage, or they may be a little afraid to go live, you know what I mean? So if I can kind of be that little push they need to get them over that mountain to where they're on the mountain, and then they're, after they do their first couple of shows, it's like riding a bicycle all over again, to kind of do that. That is the most important thing for me personally in our YouTube comic book community. Comic Core on Wednesday has a great show called The Greatest Show. I don't even know. It's Greatest Show. It's got Bear Island Comics. It's got Whitewell Comics on there. It's got Comics Misexplained, and it has another guy on there. And I'm so sorry, I'm forgetting you, other dude that's supposed to be on that show. Maybe it's John's Comics with Kids. How the hell do I know? I thought this show was the greatest show, but I don't know. Tuesday night they have Golden Guys, Knights of Old, DS Comics, and JD Comics, and special cameo by Sophia herself of the Golden Guys, Midwest Comic Man. And then on Monday nights is a very important show, because when I put this guy over all the time, but he is the future of the Comic Core. He is C. Woodard 19. Man, him, Comic Man Andy, and Discovery Bay, and sometimes they get Drew Manchu for a cameo. But what they've been doing on there is they've been looking at modern reads from the 1980s up until today, and they're reading these great freaking stories, usually in trade, hardcover, or on the app, whether it be DC Universe or Marvel Unlimited or Comixology Unlimited. They're reading these great stories. They talked about Saga, they talked about Planetary, they've done just all kinds of great books. And for our current gen comic book community that currently might be more into collecting runs or sweet covers or keys or grails, where they're trying to, do all that stuff. But man, reading those stories, if you take the time to crack that book open and read the stories, they're really doing a great job. And that is I would say that's probably our most popular show on the Comic Core. And of course, the Comic Core is a group of folks in the comic book community that come together, that showcase different shows Monday through Friday. Soon we're going to have a Saturday show that's going to be hosted by Discovery Bay, which is going to be the Comic Core game show. That's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to pit people 2-on-2 to go, for trivia and things like that. And then after that, me and Kat Wren are going to be hosting a post-game show of what we thought of that game show. So it's going to be kind of our own little ESPN or little WWE backstage show, where we're going to talk about how well the contestants did on that quiz show to see if they really know some of the comic book information that quiz, they're see what kind of intellect they have, and they may even win some prizes as well. So another thing about Carson, I want to say on Mondays, he has a great show on Tuesday as well. And that show, I don't know if anyone in the chat really remembers Sleepy Reader. I know you're going to bed, brother, but you would remember it. When I used to do my my live shows on Thursday or Fridays, I would kind of do like Carson. I would talk about the books that I'd read, the new books that I'd received, the books that I'm looking forward to, and kind of just show off my stuff in its own hosted show. You know, I did win back-to-back best solo live show doing that, so some people liked it back then. That's when I used to be over, is what we call it in the pro wrestling business. But Carson's doing that, and he's knocking it out of the park. But one thing I love about Modern Men is it will open my mind up to some books that I haven't read. So after they read their story, they have a humongous list of modern age reads in the randomizer. So what they'll do at the end of the show, they'll randomize it, and then whichever one is the top one is going to be the book they read and discuss for the next week. Now, I told Carson to take this a little bit further and do like Bruce Pritchard and Conrad Thompson on something to wrestle with. I think they need to pick, out of their big list of books, I think they need to pick 4 titles and promote the Comic Core Facebook page. So people will, you set up a poll on the Comic Core Facebook page after the show's over, and they get the 4 that they're going to be doing. You at the 4 book or the 4 stories. They say, okay, these are the 4 that are going to be on our Facebook page. If you're interested, go to our Facebook page, like the Facebook page, vote on the book you want us to read, and then say close the polls, you know, like on Wednesday, you know, let it run for a good 48 hours, close the poll Wednesday, start reading the book and get ready for the next Monday. Now, that's a great way for you to engage not only your YouTube audience, but your Facebook audience too. So, I mean, that's a great way to cross-promote both social media platforms. That's a way to grow your channel and grow your Facebook page at the same time, and also getting more of your YouTube subscribers to go over there and like your Facebook page. Some people have Facebook group pages. Those are cool. Great Legend Show, facebook.com/Great Legend Show. That's just the entertainer page. So it's things that I post on that page that you may see that I do on Twitter or Instagram, or, you know, things here on the Great Legend Show on YouTube.com. So that's a great way to do some promotion as well. A lot of people will do a gimmick called TubeBuddy. TubeBuddy will break down YouTube's algorithms, kind of make things easier to understand, and also give you some keywords and tags that they suggest to you to get more viewers to watch your content. You can do that. I don't do it because I'm cheap and I really don't care. But it's a great way if you want to grow some of your subscribers, and it'll help you take a lot of the hard work out of figuring out, what do I put in my video description? What do I put in my tags? One thing I can tell you personally, if whatever your title is, make sure your title, looking back at 2019 and looking forward to 2020, make sure when you do your title, keep that title relevant to the information you're telling people in your YouTube video. With your video description, you have a lot of room to work. I've seen Edwin and some of the other folks put a lot of tags in their own video descriptions, which is another great way to spread the love and spread the keywords out so you can get more views and get more eyes on your content. And then lastly but not leastly, if leastly's even a word, I don't know, flesh out your tag words. You know, okay, Edwin, if you're still watching, let's go ahead and do this real quick. Let's go on over to Google here. Let's go to, let's type in this. Let's type in Great Legend. Let's make it big so you can see it better. So right here, I'm typing up here in the top, I'm typing Great Legend. All right, so right up here, you can't see my mouse, but you have, can I do my mouse display capture? Hold on real quick. There we go. And I just lost it. Where'd it go? Okay. Here's my mouse. So you got some videos that come up. Alexander the Great, Great Legend Orchestra. You got the section called People Who Ask, blah, 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 blah. But if you look at that first hit, you see the Great Legend Show. It's the Great Legend Show. It's coming at you live with the best in comics, cooking, gaming, and the truth. You click on it. Takes you to the Great Legend Show homepage. And I've got my eyes closed. There's some of my subscriptions over here, some of my people. You got some of my friends over here. You got some good people. I know some of those folks. You got some of my videos. If you scroll down, I got a playlist called Fantastic Four Complete Collection. So you can watch 1 through 50, 51 through 100, 101 to 150, 151 to 200. And I have this one here called the Official Marvel Index to the Fantastic Four. So I know what you're saying. When are you going to release issues 201 to 250? Eventually I will. After that, you got Legends Truth. Look, Legends Truth dealing with COPA. Are you under the influence of social media? With the kick-ass Chester Gould influence picture there. It's great. Contest coming at you live. Baltimore. Compliments from the Comic Corps. I don't even know what that's about. But maybe it was about the one that Bear Allen won to come to the deal. Comic Spectre Road to 500 Appreciation Giveaway. Plus contest packages. See, some of these, I don't even know if these are truth videos or not. I got the Great Chef Show, man. Look, 4K views, 4.3K, 1.9, 3.4K, 2K. I mean, look at that. 2.1, 4.6K. Dude, they love cooking. Why am I not cooking? Well, kids won't be quiet in the background. I got 1/4, 1 life. You know, I did these years ago. A lot of people are doing this now because they have something called a one-up arcade. I can one-up them. I got my own arcade. I built it myself. Comic book collecting. And then popular uploads. Look at that one there. 246K. And all I did was show them how to plug in an Xbox hard drive. But you know what's even cooler? You want to make some money? Well, what you do is you go to show more. You do buy my hard drive from Amazon.com, and man, so many people did that, and man, I got a crap ton of money off Amazon.com. They were sending me all kind of like little gift certificates and dude, all kind of cool stuff, man. It was awesome. I mean, but those were the days. You know, you can make a little money if you put your heart, you put your soul into it. But by doing that, you don't want to let the fame get you back. Now, there's also some bad ways. I call these the cheap pops. These are your Vince Russo ways to get subscribers. You know, you could do stuff like this. You can, you know, show up in someone's live chat and do something like this. You could type in, "Hey, guys." You know, just do "Hey, guys." And then you know what you do after you say, "Hey guys," you know, Great Legend Shows is live right now, right? He's live. Who else? Do we have anyone else live in the comic book community right now? I don't. No, I don't think there's anyone else. But what some channels would do, they would go to all the live shows, and then they would type a few things into the chat, and then this guy here, the one that pretty much basically created shout-outing the chat, since I was the first one to shout out the chat because I had the first live show in the YouTube comic book community, and probably in one of the first live shows ever in the damn YouTube community. So you shout out the chat, right? You're shouting that person out. And back in 2013, 2014, 2012 actually, you shout someone out, it makes them feel like $1 million. So, but what some of the channels do now is they'll just show up to get a shout out. "Oh, there's the Great Legend, man. Great guy. Why don't you go sub the guy up?" So then a lot of us, people that have been watching the video, they're going to go over there and sub that channel up. So that person could get 10 to 20 subs, you know. Back when the legend was hot, I mean, I tell someone to go I shout someone out, that person will have 30, 40 subs the next day. You know what I mean? So it's an easy way to get subs. But, however, that person doesn't stick around to watch your whole video, which that's kind of shitty. Don't you think? You know, like just some guy showing up and saying, "Hey, everybody," and then they just leave. That's kind of the shits. but it's a way that they can get over. It's a cheap-ass way to get over. One of the other ways is the reverse AOK. Say you got a lot of money, you got some cash, you just start sending AOKs to everyone you know, and what'll happen is the person will do an unboxing on their channel. Person A sent me this, and you know, some people with AOKs, they'll make videos about the AOK and giving shout outs, and they'll put the person's video link in their subscription down below saying, hey, check the person out, they sent me this for free. So the person that sent me, say, Shazam 3D, I'm sending a lot of subscribers their way. Back in the day, not so much anymore. Jesse, you're going to know how this feels because you're a big channel. But so people will target you. You're going to become a targeted individual because you have a lot of subscribers. Someone's going to send you an AOK because they want you to do a video about the AOK they sent you. If you have over 10,000, I don't know how many Jesse has. I'm going to say 10K, just make up a number. 10K. So that means Jesse, who has 10,000 subscribers, is doing an unboxing from somebody that gave him an AOK. And of course, then all those 10,000 viewers might go to that person's channel that sent the free movie, and maybe those subscribers want something free, so they're going to sub that guy up. That's what I call a planted, targeted individual reverse AOK. A reverse AOK is kind of a cheap way to get subs. Now, granted, I'm not saying every AOK is bad or people are only doing AOKs to get subs. Another thing I've seen is the AOK, the community AOK, where someone sends them an AOK and then they'll invite that person on with them, and as they open up the AOK, that person that sent the AOK gets direct satisfaction of the AOK they sent the person, and they're on their show. You know, you got a 50-50 thing there. I mean, it is what it is. So always kind of, please don't do those. Don't do those, dude. Those are cheap ass ways to get subs. That's in wrestling. It's a cheap way to get a cheap pop. Don't go for the cheap pops. I mean, really concentrate on, you know, okay, what we got, 12. Concentrate on the 12 right here in your audience. Another cheap pop, another cheap way is to buy subscribers. You buy subscribers, and it baffles my mind, the people that buy subscribers, because time and time again, I've told said people, YouTube does a purge every 6 months. So say you buy 500 subscribers, 6 months from that time, you're going to have 500 less subscribers. So if you show up on the scene and you're at 700 subscribers and you buy 500, that'd be 1,200 subs, and you have this 1,000 subs contest, and then months later, your stuff dips back down to 700, you look like a fucking idiot, basically, because then people find out you bought subs and that was a waste of money. When you could have took that money and bought DC Universe app, Marvel Unlimited subscription, or Comixology Unlimited. You could have saved money on a fake number, a number that doesn't mean anything, and you could have bought something else or bought books with it. But since we live in a culture, the me culture, not since the baby boomers has this new generation, kind of became a me generation where it's all about them. It's all about what they want. It's all about their social media numbers. It's all about their views. It's all about their likes. It's all about their subscribers. Believe me, the Great Legend was one of the hottest heels in the Xbox community. I know all about that fame. I know all about that fortune. You know what I mean? I ain't even going to tell you what I made on Bitcoin, but I ripped Satan off big time there. So fuck him and his future B system. I made 20. I ain't even going to say it, but let's just say I made quite a lot of money from the Bitcoin, the future monetary system of the one world order. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is, I don't even know where the fuck I was. But that's the thing. I mean, there's you can buy a fake number. And how I relate this is this. I mean, you know, Jesus saves souls. So if, you've got subscribers, Jesus isn't going to save the souls of a computer generated fake subscriber. He's going to save the souls of these people in the chat right now. And one of those is burning it down, baby. What's up, Sam? Sam, sorry I hadn't got to your comments. I know you've been here. But, I mean, that's the thing. I always tell up and coming YouTubers, they don't listen to me much anymore because I'm not the big fish anymore. There's far more channels that are better and bigger than the Great Legend Show is. But one thing I could say is I know all of my subscribers because my subscribers are real life human beings. They're not fake names, from India or, wherever the hell they come from. No offense to anybody from India, but you know what I mean. They're real life people, and I take pride in that so many of those people do take the time out of their lives to watch the Great Legend Show and learn some good information about, how to improve or better their life. But, the thing is with this me generation, the baby boomers were kind of the first me generation. That generation, that great generation before them, they worked their asses off. They had the depression. Every dollar meant something to them because they bled, they sweated, all of that stuff. They cried to get where they were and to provide a better life for their children. Gen Xers came along, kind of like doing our own thing. We cool, we awesome, we the best, small little deal. And then with the millennial generation comes along, it's kind of, and I'm not bashing millennials, I'm just giving you the Legend's truth because this is out there on the net, that millennial generation is that second me generation where they want instant gratitude. So that's why you may see, a guy give an A-OK, and then they're going to keep talking about how they gave that guy the A-OK, through multiple videos. Like, yeah, I gave this guy this, I gave this guy this, I gave this guy this. I mean, like, that's really great, man, but you don't have to tell us 1,000 times. What you did should go, be humble about the A-OK you gave that person. No need to keep kind of like, yeah, I gave him that book. I gave him that book. I gave him that book. That's all fine and dandy, and we hope you get the recognition and all that good stuff. But my grandfather did this, and, when you let people borrow money, he told me and told my father before me that when you loan someone some money, like say you give them something, don't ever expect anything in return. Do it out of the goodness of your heart, and then don't keep reminding that person, because when you remind that person that you gave them an A-OK, it's going to make that person feel guilty, and it's going to make that person feel like they need to do something in return for you. And sometimes in that person's life, they may not be financially stable to do that. Sure, they're grateful that you hooked them up, but try to remember in that person's life, they may not be financially stable to, return that favor. If they can, that's great, but no reason to keep like shoving it in their face. It makes you look like a fucking jabroni, pretty much. I mean, that Legend's truth, by the way, as Cat Room would say, #hormones. Makes you look like a fucking jabroni idiot, but that's just me. So, the way how generations are and the way how new generations grow with the digital reality that we live in, will tell a lot about the individual that uses the social media or uses and lives in the digital reality that we live in. Let me check the chat real quick. People put personal worth and value in those numbers, which isn't healthy at all. It really isn't, dude. It's really not. We got Sam, boy. I need to look into that. Yeah, Sam, look into some of this good stuff, brother. Oh, yeah, Strictly, I got to get you on that. A hot chick always gets them views. Jesse, go topless. That'll get you the views. Dude, that arcade took 9 months, dude. 9 months. Now, a great way to do it, Comic Cat 84 got one of these new Raspberry Pi gimmicks that put all the ROMs in a small individual little computer, man, really small. Go with one of those, connect it up to a nice LCD, and then all you need to build is just the control panel itself, and you'll plug it in. You plug those are all HAP controls. You go to hapcontrols.com, HEPP controls.com. That one in the middle is actually the Miss Pac-Man Galaga 20-year anniversary reunion stick. That's a one-player 4-way. That's the first player 8-way. So both of those sticks there do the exact same thing. It's basically a 2-player cab, but if you want to do Pac-Man, Burger Time, any game that moves up, down, left, right, you'll want to use the 20th anniversary red stick there from Namco, which is, by the way, really good feel. It's kind of arced a little high, so sometimes it jams, but, I just got to tell my dad to quit banging the joystick so hard. He's 75, so he's working the stick and everything. Love you too, Sam. One of the best. But, yeah, so do some of those things and remember that for your own personal growth, there's a lot of different ways to grow your channel. Like I said, that TubeBuddy's really cool. Oh, and they also do thumbnails for you. I've never tried it. I do have GIMP, the graphic image manipulation program. But normally, for me personally, when I let YouTube and I kind of let fate decide what the picture's going to look like. And usually the Great Legends show, like I said, it's about this. It's about stuff like this to an extent. But, it's about me. And I sound like one of those, me guys now. But the channel is basically the Great Legend Show. It's just anything I got to show. So, when you have a subscription feed full of tons of channels like I do, if the preview picture or the thumbnail has my face on it, it has the beard, the beanie, they'll know, hey, Great Legend Show has a new video out. And then they'll look at it, and it'll be like an hour, and then they'll be like, fuck, it's too long, though. I love that, though. But it's okay because it doesn't matter how many people watch the video. The numbers don't matter. What matters is all of these people in the chat, because if you listen to some of the stuff I tell you, I guarantee you're going to learn something. And, you're going to be a better person for it. And it's a way for me to touch your life. And then when I read your comments, you touch my life right back. So, it goes hand in hand, that is God's plan passed down to me that I pass on to you, so you'll be more educated in whatever the legend's trying to say and do, so the rhymes are here all the time. I try to bust the rhymes every now and then, and I'm going to go ahead and kind of close it on out. I really appreciate each and every one of you that are here tonight, really late at night, so I'm going to get some sleep and got to go to work tomorrow and enjoy a great day of serving the public and trying to brighten their day when the customer comes in. If you work in retail or wherever you work or whatever you may do, you may have a shitty day, you may not be feeling good, but always smile, to the customers and make them feel good, because a lot of times in today's times, a lot of customers, they go to the express checkouts or they don't want that human interaction because they're so used to their own digital world and the thing they live in. So make sure you smile each day. Just engage that other human being and, just be well, like St. Walker. All is well, right? You got to love that Blue Lantern ring. Iron Man 2020 comics. Iron Knight. I'm hyped for Iron Man 2020, man. Dude, I'm so glad, Iron Knight, that you've got some kick-ass Iron Man comics that are coming out in 2020. Is it going to be Tony Stark? Will it be Riri Williams' Ironheart? Will it be War Machine? Dude, I have no clue. But if I know Iron Man, he's going to be kicking some butt in his cool suit of armor, man. Totally love it. Bob World, God bless you, brother. I love you so much, my friend. You're a great man and a person that, everyone in this chat, I need to aspire to be more like, because each and every one of you are great people in your own right. But fans, do I have anything else? Oh, I opened up that. Did y'all see that? Look at that. Jonah Hex, man. So cool, man. Great stuff. Jonah Hex. Look at that. big ass Sasquatch and stuff. Well, it is a weird Western, so you never know what you're going to get when you got that weird Western. Oh, and little bit more, a little bit more. Don't go just yet. 2020, I'm going to work on some more Jonah Hex mini series, little 4-issue minis I'm working on. I'm going to try to finish up some Scalp Hunter issues on Weird Western Tales. I'm going to try to complete my Dark Shadows run. I did get a hardcover the other day that I showed on Comic Core, which is my Hermes Press Dark Shadows, the newspaper strips in hardback, and then the Sunday strips were even in color, which is really cool. Those, of course, are 1971, kind of takes place after that. Before Watchmen, this is the next book I'm going to be reading. So if I get this, I don't know. Tomorrow's Thursday. I may not have time, but I may be talking about this on Comic Core this Friday because I don't think a lot of books came out. I'm pretty sure no books came out. Like I said, I only spend $20, to $30. The only reason I spent $100 was because there's 10 new Fantastic Four Funkos coming out, and that's the only reason I spent some big money on the last one. But I'll most likely be talking about this book on the Comic Core, and then I might bring back some of the Great Legend book reviews and comic book reviews, because back in the day when I used to be over, I used to get 4-figure views on some of the reviews. I don't know what it was. I mean, I know I've got more gray in the beard, so I don't entice the younger population as much anymore. But, dude, I sure do love a good read and some good artwork and great story. I do believe that's my favorite, is the art and the story. Sure, some comics might be worth a lot of money, but the more comic books you have in your house, the more room they take up. And damn. So, another thing, Edwin, I may come on an affordable auction, or I may see Discovery Bay at his pop-up shop sometime to put some books up on there. And I want to really try to get my eBay store going again. Like I said, I'm not really a flipper, but I do have a lot of series that I've already read that could use new homes, so let me know. I'll show you some stuff. And, throughout 2020, it's been it's been a kick-ass decade, 2009 up to 2019. I've had a great time. I got to meet a lot of awesome people throughout these years. Dallas Fan Expo, I got to meet Edwin and his lovely wife. I went to Chicago, by myself and stuff, and I'm anxiety of planes, and I've gotten better with my anxiety. And I went to Baltimore. I got to hang with Drew Manchu and Chad, and I got to meet Carson Woodard and Kat Wren and all my Discovery Bay and Poor Man Comics and Jennifer Courtney. Yes, she's real. She wasn't a shill bitter. John, I got to meet John's Comics with Kids, but I got to meet JP from All About Comics. I got to meet JD Comics. I got to meet Splash Page multiple times and have supper with Splash Page. I've had such a great decade, basically, in our comic book community. And as long as my back's hurting like hell right now, but I took some pills before I got on this show. But as long as the back holds out, and as long as you'll put up with the Great Legend and some of the, I know some of the stuff you might think I'm crazy, and that's all right. I do get crazy sometimes, but I really just look in between the lines of reality, and I feed my own mind with some of this, stuff that's coming out in the future. So, but I'll tell you, each and every one of you, I love you, and I really believe that, I really say that with the Legends truth, because you're spending that time with me, and I get to spend that time with you. So, fans, I don't want to start tearing up because, I love you, and I just love doing this. Sam, let me tell you, Sam had a show tonight. I want y'all to go check him out. Sam's Tangled Web. He has a great show called The BS Show, where it's got Comics with Bueller over there, and Sam's Tangled Web is over there, and it's a fun show. It's really an Abbott and Costello, basically. It purely is. And Sam, that's a damn good compliment, brother, because those I'm an entertainer. Okay, I love the comedic greats. Of course, I love the Three Stooges and Laurel and Hardy a little better than Abbott and Costello, but you and Bueller are the Abbott and Costello. Of course, he's Bud Abbott, And you're Costello, dude. You're Lou Costello. Okay, you know, hint, hint. That's Harley's hyenas, by the way, Bud and Lou. So if you didn't know that little trivia about Harley, she has those two hyenas. They're named Bud and Lou. You know, Warner Brothers. Those are named after the great Bud Abbott and Lou Costello. You don't know Abbott and Costello? Look it up on YouTube. They're great. They're great. I mean, you know, we've had such, as far as pop culture goes, and, you know, Abbott and Costello, Groucho and Zeppo and Chico and Harpo, all of them, Duck Soup, Three Stooges, Laurel and Hardy, Buster Keaton, Charlie Chaplin. I mean, some of the greatest comedic acts. W.C. Fields, that drunk bastard. I still don't forgive him for taking out all of Shemp's good parts in The Bank Dick. If you've never seen The Bank Dick, the Bank Dick, okay? The Bank Dick is kind of what they used to call gumshoes or cops, things like that. So watch The Bank Dick with W.C. Fields, Shemp Howard. Of course, this was when, you know, Curly was with the Stooges, so you got to see Shemp. Of course, Shemp was with the Stooges first on vaudeville. Mo and him met up with Ted Healy. I can go the whole history of the Three Stooges if you wanted me to. And then they met that guy named Lawrence Feinberg, a.k.a. Larry Fine. But, you know, when Shemp got signed by Vodafone Pictures up there in New York to be on the Joe Palooka series, he was Nobby. Nobby, what's his face? Nobby Nash? Or, so, yeah, Shemp got that good New York money, so they had to find that Jerome Howard. You know, they called him Babe. He had a mustache, real long hair. And, of course, they had to shave the stash and shave off his hair. And then they was like, ain't you Curly? You know, so that's when he went by Curly. And, you know, they got signed to, God, my mind went blank. Columbia Pictures, Harvey Cohn. Or is that Harvey Cohen? I don't know. That Harvey Weinstein bastard, gone too soon. Freaking pig. But anyway, Cohen, you know, and the Stooges didn't get the residuals. But anyway, I'm talking too much. I do have a lot of history up in here of things that I love and I love to talk about. I love those comedy acts. I mean, Sam, you're doing a great job, dude. And Bueller's just doing that. It's an act. I mean, Bueller's not really an asshole. Bueller's a good man. But boy, when him and Sam get together, it is typical Abbott and Costello, man, and they're perfect together. A great freaking team. One of the best teams in comics, by the way. And Sam, you make Bueller look good, brother. Amen to that. Fans, I love each and every one of you. Uncanny Walker, Kyle, giving you some love again. Jesse, get your butt back on there. I want to see your face on something. All right, I love you, man. Strictly, you know I love you. I sent you some love the other day. Joe Bag of Sevens, good to see you. We had, who else did we have in here? Sleepy Reader Damien, you've been with me all these years. The Immortal Biggie Shack, you're probably in bed. Perry, thank you so much for lurking. Damn, Dragon Majesty, good to see you, man. Dragon Majesty. OMG Chris, one of the best. Bob World, one of my faves. Area 51 was here. So many people. Fish Tropic, Double S. Man, I think it's time for me to even get some rest. And then we had that weird name I never seen before. Where's that name at? Uncanny. I don't want to get too much dead air. If you remember those dead air moments. Dead air from the guy rocking in the chair. Remember? God, I hated when that guy did that dead air. And then to find out what he really did. Gone too soon. Anyway, so great to see y'all. And really, truly, honestly, God bless each and every one of you for staying up late watching this old man do what he does best, man, and that's host with the most and entertain each and every one of you. Love each and every one of y'all. Fans, this is the great legend. Tomorrow's Friday. Catch me on the Comicore. The link is in the video description down below. I know. Some don't like Comicore. They just want to see this guy right here. But dude, come on over to the Comicore, man. You know, you're going to have a good time. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a good time. We got Seawood 19. We got Cat Wren, Mark BKR. We got Comicore Chad. And we got Drew Manchu, baby. And then you never know what kind of guests they're going to stop by on the Comicore. Happy New Year, Kyle. Happy New Year to everybody. Fans, this is the great legend saying peace out God bless.